We're talking about USB in this session, and we are three guys. Hendrik Schwartke down there in the first row of the auditorium. Sergey Schumilo is already standing on the stage, and my name is Ralf Spenneberg. And, why USB? Can you... Oh, wait, where's the... Der Weiterschalter? Okay. So, why USB? Well, I don't know if any of you remember the Teensy framework a couple of years ago. Teensy framework was able to simulate hit devices, and you could compromise systems by simulating, for example, keyboard, which would then enter malicious keystrokes on your system. And back then we played around a little bit with the Teensy framework, and we thought this would be a great tool to actually test device drivers in different operating systems as well. So to simulate some totally different devices and to misbehave and to see how the operating systems would respond or react to that. Because of time constraints back then, we weren't able to actually go further with this research and forgot about it a little bit. And then Sergey joined our team, and he then proposed to do this totally different without hardware, just virtualizing everything and do some massive fuzzing using USB. So that's what we want to talk about, and we want to show you how we can actually do millions of tests in a very short amount of time to actually test different device drivers and to crash them. So to get you on speed on the past research on terms of USB, you might have heard about bad USB. Just recently this year, a couple of researchers were able to actually reprogram the firmware in mass storage devices and USB flash sticks to pretend to be something else. For example, again, to be a malicious keyboard doing some keystrokes on your system. So you plug in a normal flash stick and it turns out to be a keyboard. Then you might have heard of the facedancer. Facedancer is a genius tool. It's a really great tool. It has got two USB connectors, and you can connect two systems to it, one victim system and another controller, and you can then actually do some USB fuzzing. The facedancer is able to simulate any kind of USB device, and you can interact with the other system. The problem with the facedancer is it is slow. So that's why we have one and we used it a lot, but that's not the way we wanted to do it, because you could just do one test in maybe 5 seconds or 10 seconds. And then you might have heard of USB fuzzing for the masses. That was one of the first attempts to actually do it in a virtualization environment. But still we do it a little bit different. But just to make you aware of the fact that there are some other people tried it first. So let's see. To show you the impact, why we want to actually take a look at it, and I'm sorry for the slides. There's something at the bottom cut off. I don't know why currently. But I think we can explain everything to you, so it will work. To show you why we want to actually analyze this, well, those bugs might be very critical. We've just chosen 2 bugs of the last year to show you how critical these USB bugs might be. They might lead to code execution either on Windows or on Linux. So you plug in a USB device into your machine, and the USB device executes code in your kernel space. And that's what we wanted to do, and that's what we wanted to find out, and what we wanted to analyze. So already 9 years ago at Black Hat Las Vegas, 2 guys postulated plug and root instead of plug and play. Still today, we're still finding bugs. We're still finding bugs in USB drivers, and we're still looking for them. And we will now show you what we've done and how we actually try to do it.
Okay, well, we want to talk about USB we just got 25 minutes, so we just talk about USB at high level. And if you're interested, just read the specification. But it's about 600 pages long, so there's not enough time. Okay, so well, USB, we got, I split the view in two different parts. There's the driver initialization and specific driver functionality. And we're going to talk about driver initialization. And well, on Linux, you got the USB core driver, which does the generic first initialization for plug-and-play capability. So at USB, the data goes over the wire at the physical layer, and at the logical layer, you got some endpoints, logical links, unidirectional, and well, at the enumeration at the beginning, after you plug in the USB device, the host system requests some data from the USB device, and the USB device delivers some structured data called descriptors. And there are some information like the power consumption, the identification number of the vendor and product, and so on. And based on this information, the USB core driver selects the best fitting driver. And well, we got some of them. There are the HIT driver for human interface devices like keyboards or mouses and joysticks. And well, the mass storage driver for USB sticks. And of course, there are some vendor-specific drivers. For example, a Wi-Fi USB driver and UD-LFB, which is a driver for portable graphic cards connected by USB. And well, some of them got access to other subsystems of the kernel. The Wi-Fi USB driver got access to the network stack, and the graphic card got some access to the frame buffer. And if you are able to just trigger a bug in these drivers, you may also affect the subsystem, and this could be interesting. Well, if you are on Linux and you plug in a USB device and you run the dmessage command, well, this is similar what you will see. There's above the red line, there's the USB core driver output. There you can see there are some informations from the information exchange at the beginning. And there are two interesting fields, the ID vendor, ID product field. And well, you can resolve them to HTC, and there should be is a Pocket PC sync. And the USB core driver selects based on this information the best, the fitting driver for this device. And well, our goal is to try out all of them in the Linux kernel or in other operating system. And we realized this by using our virtual USB fuzzer framework, and we used QEMU and KVM for host or target or victim virtualization, and for providing USB data to the virtualized operating system, we used a USB redirection interface or protocol. And the USB redirection protocol and interface was designed for providing some USB remote functionalities to QEMU. And this is the architecture. Well, at the left side, there is the host system. At the right, the guest system. At the host system, you got the application USB redirection server. And the USB redirection server uses libUSB to attach a virtual USB device and then acts like a stub driver and will redirect all USB data to the QEMU interface. And QEMU is able to parse the data, and then QEMU will provide the USB device directly to the virtualized kernel. And well, if you take a look, you may notice that this is useful for some man-in-the-middle purposes. And well, you're able to intercept the data for some reverse engineering or some dump fuzzing by changing some bits and bytes. But you're also able to just implement your own server, and this is what we have done. And the architecture of our framework looks like this. Well, we got our QEMU process, and we got a QEMU controller, which is responsible for starting the QEMU process and load snapshots. And I think virtual machine snapshots are well known. They're just safe states of the virtualized operating system. And the interesting part is the fuzzing infrastructure. Well, we got some implemented and written in Python, some USB emulators, and they are interchangeable. There is an API, and there is a fuzzer module, and the fuzzer module is able to intercept the communication and do some fuzzing, and is also capable to do some descriptor fuzzing by changing some informations for the generic first initialization. And the last part is the monitoring module, and well, the monitoring module is interacts with the operating system over the serial port, and if there is a misbehavior or a kernel panic or other crashes, the monitoring module will write these events to log file, and you can use them for investigations. And well, this architecture is independently, and we have no external USB hardware or physical USB hardware, so we can scale, and we scale. Well, we have to implement a module for distributing tasks, and well, then you can use some multiprocessing or clustering capabilities. And we got two modes implemented to this framework. The first one is just the reload mode. Well, with this mode, you're able to test individual payloads. And after sending each payload, there is a restore of the virtual system. And the second one is more like the facedancer or real world. Well, you keep sending until there is a crash and something goes terribly wrong, and just then you have to restore the system, and yeah. And this allows us to find some very interesting sequences of payloads which triggers some bugs. And yeah, this mode is, by the way, faster. And since every test case has its own identification number, you are able to just export sequences of them to files, import them, execute them, distribute them, and we will show their reproducibility in the demo. And so the question in this framework is, are we? Okay, that's okay. So the question is, are we faster? Yes, we are. Compared to other sequential running solutions like the facedancer board or our framework in the single processing mode, you're able to run up to 320 tests compared to just a half. And so you have to wait 2 seconds for just one test, and well, and we just run these tests on older Intel server systems. So this is not high end. You can do better if you want. And imagine you want to run 1 million fuzzing tests. Well, using the facedancer or other USB fuzzing solutions, you have to wait almost 1 month to just do 1 million fuzzing tests. And if you just use our framework with the clustering capability, it's less than 1 hour. And well, let us show you a demo of our framework, and yeah.
Okay, now I take over again. And Sergey will try to show you the framework and how it works. And we're trying to do it actually in real life. So Sergey will now try to connect to one of the systems back in our home office, and we'll try to show you the framework as it's actually working. And I hope it will work because the wireless Wi-Fi here is not very good, and he's using UMTS, and we're not really sure whether it will work. If it doesn't work, we have a screencast, but first we want to try it because I think it's always more fun to actually see something actually being done during such a talk. So we have prepared, Sergey already told you that this framework gives each test case a unique ID, so you have to give you a better understanding, when we talked about payloads, what we mean by a payload is that we emulate a full USB device, send it to the virtual machine, and see how the virtual machine reacts to it. And we can not just emulate one device, but we can disconnect the device again, emulate another device, disconnect it again, emulate a third device, and then we have a sequence of payloads. And we have prepared a couple of payloads. The framework supports an archive solution. So he said just 1 more second. So let's see how long a second is. Anyway, We have prepared 2 virtual machines. We have prepared a Ubuntu 14.4 and CentOS 6, which pretty much means Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Currently we're only running on Linux systems. We're only testing Linux systems. We'll be sending a couple of payloads to them, and then we will show you the framework actually in action. So, are you ready? Okay, he just told me that the connection is not stable enough. We have to show the screencast. Okay, so show the screencast. I'm sorry for that, but I don't know if anybody of you tried the Wi-Fi here in this room. I think I had 76% packet loss. So, okay. Come on. Okay, now we've got 2 screens here. And first in the screencast, we will show you actually this archive function. So he will now show us the archive. So there are several payloads prepared. We found much more already that actually crash systems. Those are just the payloads we prepared for today. And now we will start a CentOS 6 machine. A virtual machine, and we will send this payload to the machine. So we're now inside a 2.632 kernel, CentOS 6, and now we will send the payload to this machine. As you can see in the back, the machine crashed. The machine is dead now. We just plugged in one virtual USB device. It's just one device which misbehaved a little bit. So we plugged in a device with a specific vendor ID and product ID, and then told the system, oh, well, you wanted to read this descriptor or that endpoint. No, sorry, it's not here. And the device crashed, or the system crashed. So now he started CentOS 6 again, and we load a different payload. And here now, this is a sequence of payloads. What you can see is that we have several times the enumeration phase. So we plug in different virtual USB devices, one after the other. All in all, there are 7 USB devices plugged in. The machine doesn't actually crash immediately. As soon as we start the attack a second time, the machine crashes. So there are sometimes cases where we need actually different misbehaving USB devices to get the operating systems to crash. Our framework is capable of finding those, of reproducing those in a way that even a kernel debugger can actually test these then. That's one great feature of this framework as well. So now we start a Ubuntu system just to show you that it's not just Red Hat Enterprise Linux. And we send a payload off to that machine. And again, those are several payloads which are sent. We have several enumeration phases. And it takes a couple of seconds, and the machine crashes. By the way, that's the reason why we virtualized it, because the enumeration phase, the plugging in of a virtual USB device and detaching it again, takes some time. And if you want to do it with a million tests, if you want to just change always just a little bit, using fuzzing, you need to actually scale that to run it parallel. So now we want to show you the framework as it actually runs, and we will start 150 virtual machines at the same time, 150 guests, which are now attacked with different payloads, with different test cases. And currently the system is running at 229 tests per second and will improve in speed. And we already see at the bottom the bugs that are found. So every time a payload triggers a bug, we will see it in logs. Currently we have done 1,290 tests. We're running with 77 tests per second. We do have logs from older runs, and we will show you that there are several bugs that can be found. We have a digest script, and you will see the digest script in just a couple of seconds in the screencast. And that's an older run. Those are the unique bugs we found in that run. And all in all, there were 550,000 tests which were done. We found 4,000 bugs. There were 92 kernel panics, and unfortunately you can't see it because it just was cut off at the bottom. I think there were 66 reboots needed to actually get the system back into state, and 2 or 3 sec faults. This is just by fuzzing, just dumb fuzzing of the systems in the device descriptors, in other places, and this is done by this framework, very highly reproducible, so everybody can use it and reproduce these bugs as well. Okay. Yeah, question? Okay. Well, those 4,000 bugs, no, the unique ones were the ones you saw at the top. So the problem is, well, we haven't investigated these bugs yet. So we don't know either whether these bugs are exploitable. We don't know whether these bugs can affect other systems and stuff like that. So what we did is we just counted them. Those are the 4,000. And if you just take a look at the line where the bug tells us at what offset in the kernel the bug occurred, we probably have, within these 55,000 bugs or 55,000 tests, we probably have about 20 to 50 unique bugs. But still, if you actually want to do fuzzing, very simple fuzzing tests need about 15 million, 20 million different tests. With 55,000 tests, 550,000 tests, we've just touched the surface a little bit. And Sergey will tell you a little bit more about what we are planning to do. We're just scratching the surface yet of the USB fuzzing we can do. Okay, well, we realized Linux monitoring by just configured the TTY on the serial port, and well, so we got our output. And this is quite simple, and of course we want to do Windows fuzzing too. And yes, we are aware of WinDebug, and yes, we have to test it and we want to implement it. And of course there is the lamer solution by just taking a picture or a VNC and look at the blue component, but this is not Black Hat-like. And well, like Ralf already said, there are just some bugs, and we did no investigation yet, and yeah, so in addition, we want to implement more specific emulators, like emulators for Wi-Fi, USB, or so on, to go deeper to the kernel and to test more. And so, well, at the conclusion, you will see some of them. This is a small selection of some bugs we found, or we can trigger. And yeah, we are surprised and shocked of the number of bugs we found with our framework on first test runs. And yeah, we also picked some of them and some special of them to verify by using the facedancer board. And yes, this shows us that this is possible, that these bugs are no artifacts of the virtualization. And yeah, you can say in conclusion, this is faster than anything else yet. And well, if you're interested in this project, we need help, and yeah, you got the files on the Black Hat CD or on the Black Hat website and on GitHub. And so, if you're interested, just visit my GitHub. And yeah, are there any questions? Any questions? No question. Okay. Well. Thank you very much, and well, enjoy the rest of Black Hat.